All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to another episode of We Create Music TV. I am, of course, your host, B. Vaughn, and man, today we got my man, hip hop and R&B artist, Kid ISO.
What's
Brother,
up? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
man.
for having me on.
Glad you could be here, brother. Glad you could be here. So let's jump right into it. So, how did you get started, man? Just give us the background history of how you got started in this whole music thing.
Well, it started first when I was a younger kid going to church. So my mom was made sure me and my sister were always at church. We were always going, and I joined the choir there when I was very young. And so singing, all the time. Uh, my father is actually a DJ, and my mom is a poet. So from both
Okay.
sides, I kind of got a lot of artistic talent. And with my dad being a DJ, that's really where I kind of fell in love with hip hop. And so from there, I kept going. I think that the first time I was really in the studio rapping, I was a ghost. And basically, um, he used to freestyle all the time. Always say, "Hey, let's throw in some beats. Let's make some stuff." Uh, and he would freestyle, and we went to the studio one time, kind of just on a whim. And I wrote some stuff down. He threw some beats in, and we kind of made magic. And from there on, I really fell in love with that process of studio making, making music with friends, collabing, and working with your team to make great music. So that's where it started. I think through college, I really got better as an artist, really improved, met more people, grew the circle a lot more. So far that we could have a really good circle around me, and then we could continue to create music, and that's what we do to this day.
Yeah, man, that's what's up, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I know it must have been an experience growing up with a mom who's a poet and a dad who's a DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that in that type of environment. Maybe your dad was over there scratching, your mom was over there rapping. I mean, who knows? But, I guess seeing
Yeah.
that from a day-to-day basis kind of has some inspiration, for you to step into this world.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, man. So talk about the Chicago, right? You're based out of Chicago.
hmm
So kind of talk
Out of
about,
Chicago. Yeah.
yeah, kind of talk about that environment and the musical landscape and how the musical landscape in Chicago kind of influences, your music today.
So I guess as far as like sonically, Chicago always had a gritty kind of sound. And then with like the beginning of Chicago drill music, you had the Chief Keefs, you had all those guys. That's only what you really heard out of Chicago. But then with Chance, I feel like that was different. There was a different sound. There was a lot more people who did different things, who were singing a lot more, involved a lot of gospel into it as well. Just a lot of different sounding, a lot of jazz, soulful kind of hip hop, bringing that a little bit back. So I feel like that's kind of more where I kind of was swaying a little bit more, was just that aspect of it. And so I feel like my Chicago influence was just people like a Chance the Rapper, like a Mick Jenkins, who kind of just were like, hey, we have our own sound. It may not be the popular sound of Chicago, but we have
Hmm.
our own sound, and we're really gonna take this to the next level. And I feel like that's really what I bring to the table, was just something different to like offset a lot of the same kind of sounding music in Chicago. And then as far as the message of my music, I feel like you hear a lot of what's going on in Chicago and how I see it through my eyes.
Hmm.
um and I've always felt like that way. I understand every part of really the Chicago struggle. I lived on the south side, so I understand that side. I lived on more of the north side, I understand that side too. I kind of see it through a lot of different eyes. So when I'm my messaging through my music is honestly just that, seeing my city through my eyes, which is just a vantage point of seeing how this person can be so different from this person on this block. And I think that's why I'm a bit unique, because I can just talk about so much different things of.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's really how
Mm,
Chicago really influenced me.
okay.
Is really just the great people before, of course, but also the people now. I think people in my friend group, and even people who are still on that underground level, we all kind of inspire each other. We all have different sounds, but at the same time, we can all collab. And I think the important thing now in music is really just having, being able to do so many different things. And I feel like that's what you can get right now in Chicago. You're not just going to get the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, because you got heavyweights in Chicago. I mean, you got, of course,
Hmm.
Kanye,
Of
Common.
course.
You got your Chance the Rapper, of course. You
Hmm.
got you have No ID who lives in Chicago, right? And so I guess in the beginning, these were the guys who kind of set the foundation of what Chicago
Hmm.
music, was sounding like. And I guess kind of as you were stating, putting your own spin on what you kind of experienced in Chicago and communicating that through your music. Because I know you know better than I do, but man, I know Chicago would be going through some stuff. Like
Of course.
you
Yeah.
see you see it on the news every day, and to be able
Hmm.
to kind of kind of reflect that through your music gives people an awareness, because I mean we all know the news doesn't really tell the full story, right?
Exactly.
They only give you one side of the story. Kind of back early in the okay, so I'm an old head, so people will say I'm an old head, right? So because
Hmm.
I was born in a certain era, but
Of course.
I remember when that was the same thing that was happening back with NWA, right?
Hmm.
There was a lot of things going on in LA with street violence and, gangs and all that stuff. And the music was the way that they communicated what their environment was like to the masses, because trust me, the news will give you a different perspective than what is reality actually in that community. And so to be able to utilize your music to kind of paint that picture, I think that's a great way to, to display your artistry.
And I feel like that's what hip hop is supposed to be. It's supposed to really be you speaking to your people and telling them, "Hey, I'm going through the same thing, but we can get through this together." And I mean, from the beginning of time, that's what it's been used for. It's the poetry of the people, of the
Mm-hmm.
streets. And so I feel like it's just important. And if you are going to be an artist, you have a responsibility to really show what's going on in your side of the world, to show the world through your eyes. That's what
Mm.
you are supposed to do as an artist. And when you break that down to music, that's what you're supposed to do in your music, is speak about when. And honestly, I think that the best music really is the music that speaks truly from the heart, and
Mm-hmm.
is truly the music that you are experiencing, you're writing, you're putting down on paper, you're putting into the studio. um you can't get more realer than yourself,
Mm.
and speaking
Mm-hmm.
to the people who are like-minded, just like you, or people who look like you, people who are from your neighborhood, or maybe people who are not but want to understand what's going on
Mm.
in a different neck of the woods.
I'm listening to you say that, and then I'm thinking about the culture of music today.
Hmm.
Excuse me. And man, I don't know if that's the kind of direction or the kind of vision that people have when it comes to their own music, right? I mean, you just talked about being able to connect people back to your music and to kind of give them a realistic perspective of what's going on maybe in your own world through music. And you said that's a responsibility for artists. But so let me ask you this: do you feel that if I want to make sure I phrase it the right way, do you feel that responsibility is being mishandled today by artists out in
Oh,
the music world?
absolutely. Absolutely. I feel that people are more concerned with the money and concerned with the fame than they are really with the music and giving people quality music that they really feel. You know, I can listen to a lot of songs and it can sound great, but if I don't feel it, then I'm not gonna rock with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's just important to really just deep dive into yourself. And when you create really pure music, pure art. And I feel like as though there are a lot of mainstream artists and a lot of just artists period who see past that, are just like, well, this could be a check. And you know, unfortunately, yeah, you can get money from it, and unfortunately
Mm-hmm.
some people abuse that. But I mean, I think the more important part is really just being passionate and sharing your passion with the world.
Mm. You know, that type of mindset that you're talking about is what leads to longevity within the music industry. And
Hmm.
I think that's why you see so many people kind of fizzle out so quick, is because they're just in it for the money. You know, they come in, and I can name a whole bunch of artists that came in real quick, got their bread, or you know, today's vernacular has got that bag, right? And so they got the bag and they out.
They were
Like
out.
I have
Yeah.
not heard from them or seen them. And I ain't gonna name. I'm not gonna name them because. So a couple of shows ago, I started to name drop stuff, but you know, I'm all like, forget it. It's my show. I'll name whoever I want to name, right? I mean, I'm just talking about, you
Yeah.
know, like your little Uzi Verts, your little man. I'm trying to think of the other dude, and so that's so crazy. The only reason I mentioned little Uzi Vert is because I actually remember him. But then you got the other dude who was Lil Yachty. I think that's the other guy. But
Hmm.
I mean, but I would say in the context of people like him, not per se him specifically, but
Hmm.
because I don't know any of them. I don't know their mindsets. The only thing I can go off of is what I see in the media, what is portrayed, and kind of where they are now from where they started. Right. That's the only thing
Right.
I have to compare it against. And I don't hear from any of them now. But I can say that about people back in the day. I don't hear from them
Yeah.
anymore. Like, when's the last time I got a Method Man album? And he's one of my favorite rappers. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
now Nas Nas still been going heavy, so he kind of dropped an album lately. But I
Yeah.
guess the whole thing is that people come in, they kind of get what they get, and then they're ghost.
They're out. But that's when you, and the people who really love it are, like you said, the people who have their longevity. And even if it may be not mainstream longevity, they're still
Mm-hmm.
dropping music. They still cater to their fan base. And I just think that's important. I feel like music without real passion and without real love behind it, one, you're gonna hear it, you're gonna know what it is, and two, it's not quality. You know, like
Mm.
anybody can easily go into the studio and give you 16 about nonsense and not live, not care, not even know any of the things they're talking about. And it
Mm-hmm.
can be a hit, but those real songs and real albums that we go back to, it's, you feel something when you listen to it because you're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this person is really going through whatever they're talking about right now, or they did
Mm-hmm.
go through this, and you just feel it. And those are the timeless classics, you know. Like, how many times have you heard a song that was hot for a summer, was everywhere for a summer, and then we never heard about it again because
Right.
it didn't have that passion, you know. But those just like gems, you know,
Mm-hmm.
when you're talking about, like, you brought up Nas, when you're talking about the Illmatics, and you're talking about you know, college dropouts, and think
Mm-hmm.
acid raps, so, like albums like that, it's like, wow, those are always going to be legendary. Good Kid, Mad City. You know,
Mm-hmm.
those are always going to be legendary because you can hear the real passion and love behind what those people are doing, and you can feel that this is really what they were living and feeling at the time.
Right. Yeah, trust me, I feel you on that. That's why I love classic albums. But,
Hmm.
because with music, music conveys a certain type of emotion with it, and it
Hmm.
makes people feel certain things, right? So I'm sure if you heard this particular song, you can kind of remember, wow, when I first heard this song, this is what my life was at this time. And or
Yeah.
maybe you hear a song and it connects to you personally. You're like, oh wow, I was going through that same thing this particular artist is talking about. And I think music like that is what really stands the test of time and really creates, a position of longevity for that artist. So man, so I would say big kudos to you because I'm listening to you, listening what you say, and I can tell it's not something you're just, you're spewing. It's something that you really truly believe, in your heart, and it comes through in your music.
Right.
Yep. So I'm kind of upset you ain't mentioned J. Cole and all that whole. No, I'm joking.
Of course, J. Cole.
Now, you know what I'm saying? Like I always get people on the whole J. Cole Kendrick debate, but J. Cole is actually one of my favorite artists. I still love his 2014 Forest Hill Drives album. And that album came out, of course,
100%.
2014. This is 2020, almost 2021, and I still listen
Hmm.
to the whole album all the way through.
It's funny
Right.
because like I'm not the biggest J. Cole fan, but I do enjoy that album. I like Born Sinner. And like I
Mm-hmm.
think about it and I'm like, I like a bunch of albums of his. I guess I don't know why I'm not a huge fan, but you know.
You know, I've
You
learned
like who you
I've
like.
yeah, I've learned with Cole is it's either you like him or you don't. There's not like
Hmm.
this, it's like
That's
either you're
true,
a
yeah.
fan or you're not a fan. Like you're a Kendrick fan or you're
Exactly.
not a Kendrick fan, or you are, uh, a Chance the Rapper fan or you're not, or a Childish
Right.
Gambino or you're not, right? But but yeah, man. So I'm really glad to hear you say that because how old are you?
23.
23.
Hmm.
And I don't know if there's, like I said, I don't know a whole lot of 23-year-olds, but I don't know if their mindset is like that. Now, there's an artist that I used to manage. His mindset is like that. He really is about creating amazing music, music of quality, music that has a message to it. And I can tell that he portrays that
Hmm.
through his music. And so it's good to hear that there are people still within this culture today that have that uh, stigma that they want to create great music. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Man, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you recently came out with an album.
Yeah, about a month
Yeah.
ago. It's called The Kid Grew Up.
Yeah. So talk about that. So talk about that.
All
What
right.
was the concept for it?
So it was so I had moved away from Chicago about a year ago. And I had been gone I was no about 2 years ago cuz I was gone for about a year. And during that time I was just kind of struggling with a lot of things, really trying to figure out how what where I was going to go with my life. I knew I wanted to do music, but I was kind of like torn and I just started to write. And I didn't know that's what it was gonna the album was gonna be called. The Kid Grew Up at the time, but I just knew it was gonna be a more mature album, something that really talked about what I was going through really at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And so fast forward maybe about a year, maybe 6 months ago, and I was working with one of my producers, and we were just playing some beats. I was like, hey, here's what I'm kind of we're actually working on another album, and I was like, here's a collection of songs that I really want to put together as an album. I feel like it really fits together very well, and I think we can really do something great with on it. And he's just like, wow, I hear the growth from you. And he was like, man, your kid ISO, but man, the kid grew up. And I was like,
Mm.
wow, that's the name of the project. And from there it was just really kind of trying to detail not only my growth as an artist but my growth as a man, and how I dealt with issues of maybe depression, anxiety, losing people that I loved, but was able to still come through and say, here, I'm here, I'm standing strong, and I'm growing up, and it's only up from here.
Wow. The kid grew up, and I think that's, excuse me. I think that's a fitting title because I think there's a point in every man's life, in every woman's life, of course, but a point in every person's life where they put away the old, the childish
Hmm.
things, and they step into manhood. I feel like something's in my throat, but let me get some of this. But yeah, and so I'm from listening to some of the songs on the album. I can tell that there is a certain message that you're communicating, a certain level of maturity that you're displaying. And I'm sure you can see it from knowing your own self personally, knowing the
Hmm.
music you were putting up prior and knowing this
Yeah.
album and what the differences are between the two. Man, so kind of just talk about some of the tracks on the actual album and what those tracks kind of mean, just so people can start to get a feel. And of course, we absolutely want people to go check out the album.
Okay. So I guess the beginning was called Quarantine Views, and so that was one of the like maybe two or three songs that I wrote like as we were leading up to actually releasing the project, and that was like a fresh new song. Maybe maybe a couple days after the video of George Floyd had surfaced,
Mm,
um and that was another changer for me. Was just like I knew that I needed to really speak about what was going on with
mm-hmm,
police brutality and you know all the social issues. I needed to say something about it in my music. It wasn't enough to, you know, march, and it wasn't enough to say, on my various platforms, hey, this is wrong, I'm standing against it. I knew that what I had to do was go to the music, because that's at heart what I am, an artist. And so I remember writing that verse and just being like, this is different, this is powerful, this is what I need to say. And I was so many conflicting emotions. And I remember sitting on a bench at a park by my house and just writing that whole song and just saying like, I have to get this out. I have to get how I'm
mm,
feeling out right now. So and I feel like a lot of the songs on this project are about really just getting out the pain and some of the things that I was feeling out into the world through the music.
mm-hmm.
Um Another song, and that was actually produced by one of my best friends. He goes by G Money G Note. He's a great producer, up and coming in Chicago. Um, and so another one of the people who's and he's an artist. He raps. So it's always a real bond as far as producer, artist, and then artist as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one. Another song that really stuck out specifically to me was a song "Lost," and I feel like that's where I really went into a little bit of detail about a friend of mine who was no longer with us.
Mm,
And um, maybe she passed away about 3 years ago, and she actually ended up she took her own life.
wow.
And it was a really tough time, and I remember I had dropped a little short project right after it, and I remember that when we were talking, and she would always like talk to me about my music and things. She would always be like, hey, if anything was ever to happen to me, like, I don't want the first thing you to do is release some sad music about how you're feeling, you know? I want you to
Mm,
try to release something more happy that just remembers the times that we had. Um, and so that's you dealing with that in a song, and just saying, hey, like, this is a crazy world and I'm lost in it. There's also Help, which is produced by one of my another one of my friends. His name is produced by Dunk. And that was kind of, hey, sometimes people are not going to be around to help you, and you kind of have to help yourself.
mm-hmm.
And like, everything is going to be thrown your way. It's going to be difficult. Nothing in life is easy. If it's easy, then it's most likely it's not worth anything. But if you keep going and pushing forward, you're gonna get to where you want to be. Um, obviously the kid grew up was just a culmination of really the song the kid grew up was just kind of a culmination of just my living in Indiana, which is where I had moved to for that year,
Mm-hmm.
and really just saying like, hey, I really have to figure out the path I want to walk and walk it, and
Mm-hmm.
set these goals and figure out what I wanted to do. Um, and another, I think my favorite song on the project is "Love and Heartbreak," and it was basically saying like all love ends in heartbreak, and no matter how it ends, even if you end up marrying your lifetime sweetheart and you both live and you all live together and you never get divorced or anything, at some point that person is not going to be around because death is going to be, is going to be the end of us all.
Mm.
And at that point, love will turn into heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that you shouldn't love, because it's important to love, but at the same time, that is just how I look at it. And I felt like that song was really really important to me because I it came after I had a conversation with my great grandmother, and my grandfather has been passed away for a very long time now, and we were just talking about, you know she was saying how she missed him and how life after him had been tough, and the only reason why she was still fighting and still pushing through was because there were certain things she wanted to see with her grandchildren and her great
Mm-hmm.
grandchildren and things of that nature. But she was just saying like, I have never felt complete since he's passed away. It was like half of me is gone. And so I wrote that song just kind of from that conversation. And I liked it, and it was important to me because it was the first time I really kind of had a house indie rock kind of sound on a song
Mm-hmm.
before. So it was definitely a change up of a genre, but I just thought it was really important.
Yeah, man. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I mean that I love the fact that your music are exactly things that you have experienced in your life. And I think those types of, and it's cool to have, the booty shaking music. Excuse me, I feel like something's
Of
in my eye.
course.
Yeah, a lot of issues today. Things in my throat, things in my eye. But I mean, it's cool to have booty shaking music. It's cool to have the club music sometimes, but
Of
I
course.
think the music that really connects with people are the types of music that you're talking about now. Like love is a song called Love and Heartbreak or Love Ends in Heartbreak.
Love and Heartbreak.
Love and Heartbreak, right? I mean, so
Hmm.
I mean that's wonderful because, well, I want to say love and heartbreak is wonderful, but you know the concept that love ends in heartbreak and that you are communicating that message based upon the conversation that you had with your great grandmother and how she felt in that situation. And it's like, man, like that's real stuff,
Hmm.
real stuff. A lot of times rappers today are talking about things that they don't even own.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? By the time when the video's over, they got to get out the house, they got to give the car back, the jewelry back, the clothes back, and you're talking about things that really, truly, truly matter while other people out here just putting on a fake persona. So, man, tell
Yeah.
people where they can actually cop your album at.
So my album is available anywhere you stream music. It's not on SoundCloud yet. It will be on SoundCloud in another month. But it's on Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, anywhere you stream music, you can find it. Just search up "The Kid Grew Up" by Kid ISO.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, make sure you check it out. I had the privilege of checking out a couple of tracks, so make sure you go check that album out today. So, man, talk
Yes.
about some of your challenges, man, and barriers that you kind of face today as an aspiring young artist in this crazy music industry, man. And what did you learn from it, or what are you trying to learn from those types of challenges or barriers?
I think the biggest barrier and challenge really is just uh finding a way to really get my music out there even more. Um And so obviously there's different avenues you can do that, but I feel like that's been one big challenge. Another is just especially with this pandemic has been studio space, studio time.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get that has been tough, but thankfully I've been working with another a great engineer by the name of Dr. Mindbender. He's a great engineer, and so that's pretty much who records me anytime I record. But also just kind of space to really create more, and not have to sometimes be limited by when I can be in the studio, when I have the time, whenever. But just
Mm-hmm.
having that creative space, like whenever I want it. That's my
Mm-hmm.
creative space. So I think that's been the biggest challenge. And I think what I've learned from it is that if you're genuine, you'll find more opportunities. More people will want to work with you. More people will want to listen to your music. More people will say,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, I have this opportunity. You're a genuine person. You treat people well. You have a good sound, a good message. I want to work with you. I want to put you in different and better positions." So I think sticking to yourself and being true to yourself, that's
Mm-hmm.
what I've learned throughout all of this.
Yeah. I would tell anybody, man, make sure you have your own, especially if you're an artist, you need to have your own creative tools and space
Hmm.
that you can use because, man, COVID hit and wow, it changed a lot of things. And I honestly believe that
Hmm.
things are not going to go back the way that we think they're going to go back to. I don't think it's ever going to go
Yeah, I
back to
agree.
being normal like we would consider normal to be. So I would tell any artist, man, and it doesn't have to be something that is, super expensive. I mean, you can go
Hmm.
out, if you have a Mac, you can get Logic Pro 10 for $299. Get yourself a set of, speakers, a small little MIDI keyboard. You're
Boom.
good,
There you go.
right? You're good. You can sit there and pound out your little beats in FL or Logic. I mean, even get FL.
Yeah.
Like if you want to get
I
FL
mean,
Studio,
we
a
were
cheap mic.
we made a whole like as far as producing, we produced a whole album in one of our friends' car, just using
Yeah.
the speakers from the car. We were in there, cooking up, making. I feel like you're right. You need that creative space, especially
Mm-hmm.
now seeing how COVID has impacted us. A creative space is very, very important.
Very important. Now, I don't create as much music as I used to, but I still have my creative
Hmm.
space that I can go around in. I was doing it last night. Go around, you just play around with some stuff, and you never know. You may come up with an idea, it may turn out to be an amazing song, but at least gives you the ability to not have to rely on others in situations where you may not have access to them, right? And so having your
Right.
own computer, and even if it's just a laptop, having a little MIDI keyboard, a set of speakers, as maybe a small little interface, and a DAW and a mic that you can record into. Even if your friend, say an example, your friends who are producers, even if they just email you the beat,
Hmm.
you still have a little mic at your place where you can just record scratch ideas, right? And you can start
Right.
laying them down. And a lot of times you don't even have to go to the main studio. You can send stuff back and forth and send it
Hmm.
straight to your mix engineer. Engineer can mix it. You can load it up to Lander, and you can get it mastered right through Lander. For
Right.
not like I think Lander charges like $2.99 per track or whatever their prices are. But the convenience of technology has made it so easy today to do music, even in these COVID times that we're facing today. So yeah, yep. So yeah, I will always encourage any artist, producer to get their own creative, mini creative space.
Yeah, it's important.
It's super important. But I also think one of the things you said in there was the fact that it's getting your music out there, right? And
Hmm.
so just kind of considering some of the the platforms that you can find yourself on. Streaming is huge. I think
Mm-hmm.
streaming is going to be streaming is the norm. It's going to be what it is until somebody can figure out how to take streaming to whatever next level it needs to be. And I personally don't know what that is at the moment, but I know a particular guy who I'm waiting to see what he does, because this guy is pretty much like the next Ryan Leslie of the whole music world. I'm waiting to see what he
Mm.
comes out with and how he approaches stuff, because his mind is just, he's a genius. And so I'm waiting to see what he does with that. And so that may be a platform, once he kind of figures it out, that you may want to get involved in. And I'm
Yeah.
sure that whenever he finishes it up, because he's working on it now, I'm going to announce it, and so people can start taking advantage of what he really is cooking up, and it's going to be a game changer. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
game changer, man. So what advice would you have for people trying to get into this whole music industry? What would you really tell them that they need to know?
I would say one, stay true to yourself. Stay true to yourself. Stay true to your messes. I think that's number one, most important. Collab as much as possible. You want to collab as much as possible. I feel like yes, you need to make your solo tracks, but collabing makes you a better artist.
Hmm.
And also don't stick to one sound. It's okay to make different types of music. It's okay to dibble and dabble. Don't keep yourself in a box. Because hey, if you what if you make the next best rock song that comes out, but you're a
Hmm.
rapper, you never know what avenue you could really go into, and what you're good at unless you try it. Um and also I would say um really have a group of people around you that will give you good advice and also good critiques, and won't just be a yes man and say everything that sounds good. Because I'll tell
Hmm.
you, there's a lot of stuff that you go into the studio, and just because it's on the big speakers you think it sounds good, and you really need some of those people to be like, nah, this is not it. I've a couple times where I was like, yeah, that was hard, wasn't it? And it was like, nah, that wasn't the one. You might want to redo that take, or redo this, or do that.
Mm.
And also I would say one last thing is to get people who are not necessarily musicians by passion to listen to your music and give you critiques. You want to hear what listeners who are not necessarily involved in the music business are going to think about
Hmm.
your music as well. And I think that's very important. And a lot of people just send it to their friends who do music. And that's important too, because they can help you with more technical stuff. But just a listener of music, will be able to give you like how it feels, the feel of
Mm.
it, the sound, you know what I mean? What it makes
Hmm.
them really feel. And I think that's important, very important.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how important that is to not have people around you who are yes men to say, "Oh yeah, that was dope. Yeah, keep it up, buddy.
Oh,
Yo, that was smack. Hey, you killed that." And it could be
if
trash.
I honestly, if people do that too much around me, I kind of don't really want them around me when I'm in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like it, because that means like you just don't care, and I care, and I want it to sound A1. I want it to sound perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So I want people who are in there gonna be like, bro, I know you can do that better, or yeah, you might not want to do that at all. That's just not it, and obviously you
Mm-hmm.
have to, of course, be your own mind and say, okay, whatever. Like, even if they don't, if you really really like it, then maybe you can drop it. But then sometimes you just really do need those people to be like, hey, yeah, nah, don't do that one,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps. It really does.
I tell this story, and it's not my story, but I tell
Mm-hmm.
this story often of Blackstreet and Teddy Riley, and
Mm-hmm.
how Teddy Riley had made the song No Diggity.
Mm-hmm.
And Blackstreet was a four-member group, and Teddy was the main producer, and Teddy had made No Diggity, and he wanted to put it out, and the other members of Blackstreet were like, nah, we ain't feeling that, we don't want to put that out. Like, nah, that's not going to be the one. Now, No Diggity, when it came out, man, instantly, No Diggity was a smash hit. Even today, like
Hmm.
you can listen to No
Right.
Diggity today and just still jam to it. But
Hmm.
imagine, and that's why I like what you said is yes, you need to listen to people who are around you, but sometimes you need to also go with your gut feeling and say, no, this is the one. I may need to do some things to kind of improve it, maybe, but in my heart of hearts, I feel that this is the one because imagine if Teddy had listened to the members of Blackstreet and never put No Diggity out. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
like,
yeah, one of the greatest songs of all
yes,
time.
all
Wouldn't
time,
be
like
a
No
song.
Diggity, like even to the point where they got Dr. Dre on it to do the verse. Like No Diggity is an amazing song, but I love what you said
Hmm.
about yes, don't have yes men around you. Like that's the ultimate advice. Don't. I have a group of guys that when we create music, uh, it's a plug, I guess. But when I make a song, and I'm going to send it out to get some real feedback. I send it to them,
Hmm.
and they'll come back and they'll go, "Nah, B, nah, that's not the one. Like, you're still using kitty toys to make beats. Like, nah, that's not." And
Yeah,
and that's what you need. You need people who are going to be crazy honest with you that can give you that feedback. Yep, no doubt.
yeah.
Man, so talk about where people can find you, man.
So on Instagram, it's at the dot kid dot grew up. Yeah, that's it. On Twitter, it's Kid ISO the God, Kid ISO, and then the underscore THA God. And Spotify, Apple Music, all that. Just search up Kid ISO. You'll find me. New album, The Kid Grew Up. So go check that out. Yeah, that's where you can
Yeah.
find me. And
Yeah.
also follow my collective. It's called 625 Tribe. And it's just at 625 Tribe on Instagram.
Dope. 6'2". Okay, so we didn't even talk about that. So what's that? What's six
Oh
two
yeah.
five tribe?
So 625 Tribe is just a collective of artists and managers, and basically we come together just to collab and help each other push our music and also our other media businesses as well.
Mm. Okay.
So it's me and it's my manager Esteban, and we got a couple other people in it as well who are affiliated. So we're just out here trying to in our community really get some more unity going on and really push more people from our circle. So yeah.
Hey, that's that's what's up. That's how you do it. See, that's why it's important to have people around you that
Mm-hmm.
have the same vision that you have, the same work ethic that you have, and that the goals are the same because you that helps to make the work that you're doing easier. And you can push people forward easier with that type of model. Man, kudos to you
Right.
in the 625, right? I gotta make sure I get that right.
625 Tribe. Yep. Yep.
625 Tribe. Yep. So make sure you check
And
out.
also
Now go ahead, brother.
on every Thursday, we I have I'm a part of a radio show called Northside Plugged. You can follow us on YouTube at Northside Plugged. And you can also follow us on Instagram at Northside Plugged. Every Thursday, we have about an hour and a half, 2 hour radio show where we kind of deal with social issues. We deal with sports, culture, music, just everything. Local artists come in and kind of we would interview them, but due
Hmm.
to COVID, we haven't been able to do that. But we will sometime soon be getting back to interviewing artists and everything like that. But Northside Plugged Radio Show.
Hey, there you go. So yeah, I mean, you can see that Kid ISO is involved in a whole bunch of stuff, not just from a artist perspective, but also from a media perspective as well. So
Hmm.
kudos to Kid ISO, man. Man, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today, and just getting to know
Thank you.
you. I'm saying, like I think our interactions came through, Instagram on We Create Music TV, and I'm just excited to see what the future holds for you, brother, and how you're gonna take off because your vision and your mentality. And I think that's one of the most important things. Your mentality is in the right direction.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
man.
and thank you for having me on.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure. I appreciate you being here. Is there any last things that you want to say to our audience before we end today?
Uh, just like I said before, stay true to yourself. That's the truest religion.
Yeah, stay true to
That's it.
yourself. Yep. Man, so Kid ISO, once again, it's a pleasure. Greatly appreciate you being
Thank
here.
you.
So stick around
Thank
for a
you for
moment.
having me.
Yep, stick around for a
Okay.
moment. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of We Create Music TV and getting to know our guest, Kid ISO. Make sure you go check him out on Instagram at the.kid.grew.up. And you can check all his music on all streaming platforms. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. You can always catch us every Monday and every Thursday at 7 p.m. You can catch our interview series. And of course, you can catch all the rest of our content on our website, wecreatemusic.tv. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. Greatly appreciate you. And we are out, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.